Trump will say something out of nowhere, and then there'll be people like, well, what he actually meant was something more reasonable that I'm gonna say right now. And I'll be like, that's interesting, because he didn't say any of those words in that order when he was speaking. And I think he had a teleprompter, so I don't see how that's possible. And so everybody thinks that they can be the Trump whisperer, and it's just not working this time. You see people trying to come up with why Trump, why the FBI, why the Attorney General would all of a sudden, what feels like out of nowhere, try to shut this whole thing down, right? Alex Jones, of all people, saw what the DOJ did, and he made a video crying. I think it's very important. When, when a man shows emotion, not to just ridicule him for it because it's easy. But Alex Jones cries weird. Alex Jones cry weirder than anybody I've ever seen in my life. I don't wish anything good for Alex Jones, but to see him cry felt like something happened to me too. Alex Jones is up here like, folks. Like his eyelids were doing sit-ups, crying. I'm sick to my stomach, and I just can't believe this thing is happening. Wipe your face, dog. And even Alex Jones trying to come up with something. He's like maybe the deep state got to him, and the deep state is in his body, and that's why he's doing this stuff right now. And then he'll be back to normal after he has one of my protein shakes. You can go to my website and buy frog protein for $19.99. No, it was crazy. Because Alex Jones, you gotta remember, this dude is a proper conspiracy theorist. Old school. There's something deeper behind everything at all times. And I'm not talking about chemtrails. I'm not talking about government operations. There's something deeper behind everything that happens all the time. Hillary Clinton went on The Tonight Show. Pretty sure this was on The Tonight Show, and she was trying to open a jar of pickles, right? I don't remember what the bit was, but that's what was happening. And Alex Jones pulled it up, and right after she opened the jar, he was like, you see? Do you see what happened right there? Hillary Clinton didn't open that jar. Now, in the video, she has opened the jar. Hillary Clinton didn't open that jar. That jar was pre-opened. All right? You can tell because there was no pop. There's supposed to be a pop. There was no. I brought the same jar. I'm going to open for him right now. And this man spends a while trying to open the jar. He spends an uncomfortable amount of time trying to open the jar. I think at one point he even had a rag too. You know, those kitchen tricks you use? He over here, sometimes you tap the top of it, you and he's like, I can't even open it right now, folks. That's how you know this thing right here, she didn't open that jar. So imagine Alex Jones on Epstein. I just think about the way that MAGA has been reacting, because it is a full-on revolt. Truly, it's a thing that they cannot fathom is happening. Whether it's Q, whether it's MAGA, or whether it's just people who have been following the Epstein case from the beginning. Because you got to remember what Epstein stands for. He is the ultimate boogeyman. He is the ultimate beacon for people that believe that all the elites are in on something together. And it's easy to make him that because he had an island, billionaires were flying around, people went to him for tax advice and for law advice. He was this financier, even though I don't think he had a law degree and he wasn't a CPA. So it's like, what are you doing with people's taxes that you helping? And so this dude, he represents a lot. He stands for a lot in conspiracy theory world and in just the regular world. This is someone who has ties to billionaires, to royalty, who come to him for horrific acts. And now you're telling us, there's nothing else to see here. There's nothing else to see between, me and him especially. There's nothing. Don't look. Stop. 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 And so then Trump, for his part, is watching this whole thing go down, and he's watching people argue about it in front of him, people who are, in his administration and on his side, argue about the best way to handle it, going back and forth. Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, all names that sound like they're about to be called down on The Price is Right. All three of them are constantly going at it because then, Bongino is upset with Pam because he thinks that Pam overpromised and underdelivered and everything. Why would you even say that this stuff was coming unless you had a plan? You were just talking in front of the camera. And then Pam is going back at him, and Trump's watching this whole thing. And then in a press conference, they even asked him, they actually asked Pam Bondi a question about the tapes and the DOJ's memo and everything. And Pam Bondi was ready to answer. She was about to speak, and Trump interrupted her. He's like, hey, look, are we still talking about this guy? Why? Like years, why? Everybody's talking about this dude. What's the point? You know what I mean? It's just, I'm sick of this for you, Pam. You don't even feel like answering, do you? And Pam didn't catch, she wasn't quick enough. She was like, no, I don't mind answering. And I know Trump had to be sick when that happened. It's like, no, go ahead and answer then. And, Pam Bondi talked about how they had released a lot of stuff, because there's a difference between releasing evidence around a case or releasing vital information or declassifying things and then releasing stuff, right? So they released a bunch of stuff to look like they were releasing something. They released the videotape of the night that Epstein got up out of here. And the problem with the tape is that it's always been talked about as if there was a tape of his cell that would prove definitively that nothing untoward happened, right? But the tape isn't of Jeffrey Epstein's cell with him sitting there and everything. It's of a hallway. And you're giving a tape to conspiracy theorists. They're gonna do some extra looking. There's 10 hours of tape. But there is 61 seconds missing. I don't know how long it takes to kill somebody. But if there's 61 seconds missing, I'm assuming that it takes 50 seconds and gives you 11 seconds to get down the hall. And I'm not even saying that's what happened, by the way. I'm just saying 61 seconds, that's weird. And they asked Pam Bondi about it, and Pam Bondi is like, look, it's a very old system from the 90s where the tape resets at midnight, so it takes a second to reset, and that's why 61 seconds are missing. And I had a lot of questions. I had a ton of questions. My first question didn't even concern Epstein. My first question was, why are you telling everybody that? Because that is very valuable information if you're a prisoner in that. Because you know what they play in prison, the news. You probably sit there in Gen Pop wait, it what? Every day? I gotta go take care of something. So she says, look, this is the way that system works. So we're actually gonna be supplying more video footage to show that there's a minute missing every night. And I was like, why would you say that? The people in prison can hear you. But also, that's a pretty bad system. It was supposed to be watching somebody and it takes a minute to blink. That's pretty wild. That it's just gonna be missing every day, and you're telling us that like it's not an issue at all. Felt crazy to me. And then they release the video, and then people go digging, they go looking. And one of the things they find is that the video has been doctored. Somebody at some point read the video through Adobe Premiere and did something. And I'm not saying, look. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Adobe Premiere, all right? All I'm saying is I would have thought the government, with all their resources, you know what I mean? Like the government would have like a special program. That just feel pretty cheap to make an Adobe Cloud account that you run this Epstein tape through. Like nobody's gonna know. So then people are wondering about the missing minute. They're wondering about how this video's been tampered with. And then even people who watch the full 10 hours of the video, because you gotta remember, some of these people are dedicated. They're like, there's actually a guard that leaves one way and never comes back, which proves that there's two ways to enter that hallway. And I was like, oh man, he's so screwed. Trump, he's very good at creating a distraction, and he tries. He did his best. He said that he was gonna revoke Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. On any other day in American history, that would be a headline. Any other day, that'd be wild. And look, Rosie O'Donnell and Donald Trump have what I think is now like a 20-year feud going on, which is absolutely insane. The President of the United States has the ultimate and deepest beef. His arch nemesis is the actress from Harriet the Spy. That is mind-boggling. The leader of the free world is ready to have it out at any given moment with the voice actress from the main gorilla in the Disney movie Tarzan. The man with his fingers on the button for the nukes has a deep hatred in his heart, decades long, for Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award winner Rosie O'Donnell. This is an unacceptable timeline. That is crazy. I don't even know what Rosie O'Donnell did that day. Like, I don't know what even brought it up. But he says, I'm thinking about revoking Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. If Ireland wants to keep her, they could have her. And any other day, this would be the story. He knows that. Who knows? Look, I'm of two minds about this thing because it is clearly a distraction, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But I'm of two minds about this thing because, one, obviously, there's a world where he's just like saying stuff to say stuff to like swiftly like move the news cycle in another direction, and he may not do anything. But the fact, as a sitting president, that he would even muster up the corner of his thumbs to put that into a phone to go out to the world is so deeply insane. Because this thing that he's doing now is not just a step too far. It's the entire field too far. Rosie O'Donnell is an American citizen, a citizen. And so if he can do that, then truly, 100%, without a doubt now, nobody is safe. What started this whole immigration, fear-mongering, you gotta remember, because you have to understand, as a platform, people have been running on it as long as there have been, green cards and immigration programs. Oh, is it a little too much? Oh, we don't like what it's doing to the landscape of our neighborhood and everything. And people have won votes on it. That's nothing new. But what's turned is the way that people are openly nasty and disgusting about it. There's always been racism in it. It's mainly what it is, because if you really cared about people coming over the right way, the legal way, then you would make the right way and the legal way clear, and you wouldn't kidnap people at their green card interviews, and you wouldn't have mass people picking people up after baseball practice, okay? If that's what you cared about. And you also, you've structured this thing to make these people seem like monsters. That's been the plan this entire time, because if somebody is a monster, it is part of the human condition and a flaw that we have. As long as we see somebody as a monster, whether they are or not, we don't really care what happens to them. It's why they can make conditions in prison so bad, because the assumption is, well, everybody that's there deserves to be there, so screw them, right? If they don't have clean water, or if they can't shower, or if their food's contaminated, good. Because they did something bad to earn that place, right? And it helps you strip the basic humanity of looking at another person, whether they've made a mistake or not, or looking at another person, whether from a different country or not. And if you get really good at stripping that humanity away, you can do whatever you want, and then you start to be able to do whatever you want to anybody that you want. And that's what's been creeping up this entire time. What started as guys, they're eating the dogs. Remember, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Nobody's pets are safe. It was getting so dumb. It was past these are criminals and they're killing us and they're coming over here to do terrible things. And then it started to morph a little bit more. Okay, look, I know that they're going through the proper channels and everything, but they have a misdemeanor in another country. Do we really want somebody like that to become a citizen? Maybe we should deport them now. No, I understand that they have their green card, but they also, I don't know, they have this weird past I don't like, or they wrote an op-ed I didn't like, or they said a thing that I didn't like. So do we really want someone like that in our country? I know that they are a fully naturalized citizen, but the way that they became a citizen is a little bit under suspect, because I said so just now. So maybe we'll deport them. And now we're all the way to the point that American citizens that I do not like can be gone. And so you see, when you let somebody's humanity get stripped away over and over and over again, and it's in the back of your head, and you even go with the lie. They probably did something, or maybe they shouldn't have done that thing, or maybe they have a good reason. When you do that enough and it finally comes for you, don't be surprised. Because the thing with the Rosie O'Donnell, it's there's a part of it that I think is nothing. I'm not saying that thing is absolutely going to happen. I'm just also saying that the fact that he even fixed his fingers to put it out is a problem. And normally, on any other day, it would have been such a problem that it's what everyone on the news would have been talking about. But this was a different day. This was a day where Dan Bongino is so upset he doesn't even report in to work. He's tired of arguing with Pam Bondi. He might resign. Other people are talking about resigning. This Epstein thing isn't going away. And so then Donald Trump did what he does best, what he does in a crisis, and what he does when it counts. He made it worse. Like a kid throwing a rock through his own window. He makes it so much worse. And now Trump is dealing with that fallout. There are people calling for Pam Bondi to resign. There are people that are asking Trump extra questions. And then Trump crashes out spectacularly while y'all were probably parking. And so I'm gonna do this real quick. I don't like to use my phone or bring my phone out often, but I have to read you what Trump posted. And admittedly, look, I'm gonna read every word that he posted, all right? But I will be doing it the way that I read it in my head. This is insane. What's going on, my boys? Boys in quotations. Oh no, what's going on with my boys? Boys in quotations. And in some cases, gals? Also in quotations. Are you asking us a question about what's going on with them, or are you confused about the gals specifically? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job, all caps. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. We have a perfect, all caps, administration, the talk of the world, all caps, and selfish people, in quotes, are trying to hurt it, all over a guy who never dies. What? I'm not saying that Trump killed Epstein. I'm not saying that at all. I'm like specifically not saying that. I need you to understand that I am explicitly not saying that Trump killed Epstein. I'm just saying that if I was like driving in my car and I hit somebody and I somehow got away with it, but I saw them every time I closed my eyes, I'd be like, this guy never dies. All over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. This is a man who hasn't slept. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama? You know what's so good about files written by Obama is that Trump was sitting there knowing he know Epstein. Trump knows Epstein so well. They were friends. Trump lived so close to Epstein in Florida that Epstein had to knock on his door and let him know he was on the sex offender registry. Like, that's how close they lived together. He knocked on the door, was like, hi, the court has ordered me to notify you that I'm in the area. I have been convicted of a few crimes, and I left my suit jacket over here last night, so. That's crazy. By Obama, and it's a list. It's, why are we giving publicity to files? You know what it also is? This man was sitting here knowing that he knows Epstein. He's sitting here knowing that this looks very bad. And he did the DOJ thing, even though it's not directly tied to him, even though the president isn't allowed to interfere. He clearly did the DOJ thing where he told them to shut it down. And now people are rebelling against him. And he's sitting there like, how can I make it DEI? Obama. Thanks, Obama. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, Crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration? So I guess they were all in a room in this scenario, and they wrote the files together in tandem. Like, Obama just knew that everyone in the Biden administration would be in the Biden administration one day, so he gathered them all together. But this is also before Epstein ever died or anything, so Obama time traveled to like right after to know it would hurt Trump, so then he came back in regular time and he sat down Hillary Clinton, Comey, Brennan, and the loser, he had to get all the losers and criminals of the Biden administration in one room so they could write. Also, wrote the files? Isn't it a bunch of documents? And the losers and criminals of the Biden administration, I do like that he said there are criminals in the Biden administration, but there are some people who aren't criminals. They're just losers. but I want to make sure I address them too. You're not safe. You're not safe just because you're not a criminal if you're a loser as well, all right? In fact, you're a loser because you're not a criminal, all right? I have 34 felony convictions, and I'm the president, okay? You out here not even a criminal. You can't even criminal good. Loser. And the losers and criminals of the Biden administration who conned the world with Russia, Russia hoax, 51 intelligence agents, intelligence is in quotes, the laptop from hell. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I really don't know what that is. I don't know if that's like Hunter Biden's laptop or a laptop with Hillary's emails on it, or if he just had a bad experience with an HP laptop. But like, that is also in all caps. The laptop from hell and more, question mark. They created the Epstein files just like they created the fake, all caps, Hillary Clinton, Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me. And now my so-called friends, this man hurt because my so-called friends, as a world leader, my so-called friends is the most Regina George Mean Girls line I've ever heard in my entire life. My so-called friends is wild. Foreign diplomats, world leaders had a dinner that Trump was at, and they made fun. This is his first term. They made fun of him at the dinner. He could probably hear him in the background. They were laughing. It was like Boris Johnson and Justin Trudeau and other people, and they were over here doing him. They were over here like just making fun of him hard, cracking up, talking about how he doesn't know how to spell, everything. They were getting him good. They were roasting him. And then this man comes back to the U.S. and I'm pretty sure it was Fox News that played the tape that somebody got of them making fun of him, not with a bunch of audio, and his head was down a little bit. You could tell his feelings were hurt, for real. And he was looking down and everything. And he just said, yeah, I didn't know that, like, they were, like fake like that or anything. Even in that moment, he didn't say my so-called friends. My so-called friends is insane. And now my so-called friends are playing right into their hands. Why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? And this is good. This is clever. He's doing what he does. This is the Republican talking point that's going to go around. Look for it over and over and over again. Well, why didn't Biden release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could hurt Trump, that could derail MAGA, why didn't he release it? All right, that's the most I know you are, but what am I logic I've ever heard in my life? Because you're the president now, so you could release them. I know that Biden didn't release them, but you could release them. You could. You could release them if you wanted. You could, like I dare you. I was just saying, like I dare you. I bet you won't. I bet you're too scared. I bet you won't. But you could. I know Biden did it, but you're the president now, and I thought you were a better president, so you could. You could do anything that Biden didn't do. You said that. You were like, there's a bunch of things Biden can't do that I can do, that only I can do, and one of those things is release the Epstein files. Like, I bet you won't do it, though, because you're scared. No, it's just funny, man. This man, he's going through it. Why didn't they use it? They haven't even given up on the John F. Kennedy or the MLK Jr. files, which is a terrible idea to bring up different conspiracy-laden things while you talk about there not being a conspiracy. That's crazy. That's a terrible move. This man is derailing. No matter how much success we have had securing the border, deporting criminals, fixing the economy, energy dominance, a safer world where Iran will not have nuclear weapons, it's never enough for some people. This man is spiraling. It's never enough for some people is not what a president says. It's never enough for some people is not how you speak as a president. That's how you speak as a dad who just finished a 16-hour shift and somebody tells you to take out the trash. It's never enough for you people. Every day. I've been awake for 24 hours. It's my birthday. Yeah, thanks for the time. It's never enough for some people. We are about to achieve more in 6 months than any other administration has achieved in over 100 years. And that's true. That's true. We're all going to die. And we have so much more to do. We are saving our country and making America great again, all caps, which will continue to be our complete priority, all caps. The left is imploding. Kash Patel and the FBI must be focused on investigating voter fraud, political corruption, Act Blue, the rigged and stolen election of 2020, and arresting thugs and criminals instead of spending month after month looking at nothing but the same old radical left-inspired documents on Jeffrey Epstein. Let Pam Bondi do her job, all caps. She's great, all caps. The 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and they tried to do the same thing in 2024. That's what she's looking into as AG, and much more. 1 year ago, our country was dead, all caps. Now it's the hottest, all caps, country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. Thank you for your attention to this matter. There's a thing I read about a long time ago. There was this leader named Father Yod, and Father Yod was the head of the Source family. The Source family was this collection of people. Some people called them a cult and everything, but they mostly kept to themselves. Like, they ran like a vegan restaurant, I think, and they just minded their own business. But one of the most interesting things about Father Yod was Father Yod told them early on, before it was ever even really a cult, before there were even a lot of members, I'm God, and don't go to a hospital. That was his thing. And that happens in a lot of cults, by the way. Don't go to the hospital because hospitals are full of experts who can provide answers that I can't. So if I can cut you off from other experts, if I can cut you off from people reasoning in a way that is just direct with logic, I've already started to bring you into the fold in a way that you'll never leave. And so Father Yod would tell them, don't go to a hospital, right? And so they didn't. Members of the Source family would not go to a hospital. And they did what I would say was generally well for a cult as far as length. A lot of cults fall apart in those first few years. You know what I mean? First year, everything sort of starts out good. Everybody's just having a good time, making friends, living in a commune and everything. And then year two, somebody try to get you drink something or do something else. Just people start coming for your mouth, you know what I mean? And all sorts of ways that get uncomfortable, and that's usually when the cult falls apart, because there are people that are like, ooh, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna drink that, ooh, that's weird, no, I'm gonna go, right? And then that's when leaders sort of crumble and start having power grabs, and they get paranoid and everything. This didn't really happen, at least from what I read, to the Source family, Father Yod, and they stayed together long enough that there were members of the community that started coupling and even having children. And it got to the point where they were about to have the first baby born into the Source family, but they can't go to a hospital. They can't go to a hospital, and something feels wrong. And no one can really describe what it is, but basically this member starts going into labor in real time. So everybody is looking over to Father Yod. You know, you said you were God. You told us not to go to the hospital. I think you're gonna have to deliver this baby. And so this man does it. He delivered the baby, but when the baby came out, it wasn't making any noise. And it wasn't moving at all. And people started crying. Everyone was devastated. There was so much joy around having a new person in the family. And Father Yod, he did something. I don't know what he did, but the members described it as him just clearing the airway gently a little bit, and out of nowhere, after all that silence, after no movement, the baby cried. and it started moving. And if he thought he had followers then, if he thought that they were believers then, we don't need a hospital. And it got to the point where one day Father Yo was like, you know what? I'm done with this whole like earthly thing. I'm tired of healing y'all and everything. Everybody coming up to me all the time. I got a cold. Because that's what he would do. People would like have a cold and then he'd be like, blah, 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 and then they would still have a cold and they just get over it in 2 weeks because it was a cold, right? But then when they finally got over the cold, he'd walk by and be like, did it? And it's like, all right, well. And so there's one day Father Yod said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a vacation. Get away from y'all for a little bit. I'll come back, but I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to take it in heaven. And so he got on a 1,300-foot cliff with a glider. Because I guess he thought he was going to glide up enough to just like get to heaven's front door or something. Like this man is truly like lost to the sauce, right? He'd been leading the cult too long. He believed him now. I wish I had half the confidence. Because that's so crazy to think you're just going to fly up to heaven and stay up there, but you also need a glider. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least people on ecstasy think they go just fly immediately, you know? This dude gets on the glider, takes off, and never did this before in his life. Wasn't trained or anything. And so he jumps off the cliff in the glider, and he goes perfectly down. He goes straight down. This man, bow, right? And so the followers like, oh, he went the wrong way. And then they come down the cliff and everything, and they come to get him. He laid out. I can't even do it. He laid out. He laid out like, but not like busted up. He's not dead. He's laid out like this. And didn't have any, to what I read at least, he didn't have any significant, any substantial like bruising or markups on his body. Another miracle, you would think. Turns out everything stayed intact, but his guts were all upside down. Like this man stayed perfectly in his body, but his lungs were in his feet. Like he and so they run up on him, and he over here laid out like, I can't even do it right. Like he laid out like, when they find him, glider crash, he laid out like this. And they run up there like, Father, Father. And he's like, get me to a hospital. Get me to a hospital now. And the followers are like, what? And he's like, yeah, the one on 32 Roscoe, please. Hurry up and get me to a hospital. And there's different accounts of this. I'm sure that there's followers that say he never asked for a hospital. I'm sure there's followers that say he asked for a hospital immediately. But this dude is like, get me to a hospital. And then the followers are like, what? Why though? Like, you said never go to a hospital. You said that that's not real science in there. You said that you get sicker if you go to a hospital. We can't take you to a hospital. And he said, get me to a hospital. I'm serious. Oh, I feel something upside down. You know what it probably sounded like? I mean, I'm not there. We don't have the footage or anything. But I imagine if you fall 1,300 feet down, you probably sound like that grape lady. Remember that grape lady that was crushing the grapes? Then she fell, and then she went, arr, 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 arr. Off camera, we didn't see her. Because I'm sure when he said, get me to a hospital, they really didn't understand what he was saying at first, because he was like, get me to a hospital. Get me to a, I think my spine behind my balls. Get me to a hospital. But then my man looked intact. So they're like, no, he doesn't need a hospital, he just needs rest. And then he died 9 hours later. And so when I see the way that like MAGA is turning on Trump, it just feels so much like, why would you? Wait. Why would he lie? He really doesn't understand. Trump truly doesn't understand why this thing won't go away. And it's because he doesn't understand people. You know, whether it's, you know, the MAGA base, whether it's Q, whether it's anybody online, anybody interested or concerned about anything to do with Epstein, all those people are people. So if you lead people on and you lie to people, they have a reaction. You can't just get something and give nothing in return. And people won't let it go, and they won't give up on it, because this man is real. He really existed. And he really destroyed a lot of lives. And for all of our faults as humans, we care about that. And so no, we're not just gonna let it go. It's not like some passing fad of a thing. I think it is to him, because he just uses what he needs while he needs it to get what he wants. And once he has it, he throws it or the person who gave it to him away. And it's something that some people are finding out right now, that he'll betray you on a dime. Nothing matters to him. Because if this thing doesn't matter to him, then nothing matters to him at all. There's no way around it. People care because vulnerable people were victimized for a very long time. And whatever part you had to do with that, it can't be covered up, because there's nothing that screams, I'm in the Epstein files, like, stop looking for the Epstein files. One thing that I thought was incredible, one thing that put a smile on my face, was when Rosie O'Donnell responded to Donald Trump talking about revoking her citizenship. And I know I don't like to pull out my phone, but I want to read you what she said. You can actually look. You can actually. This is on her Instagram, so you can actually look this up for yourself. I'm not kidding. This is crazy. So first thing she does is post a picture of Trump and Epstein together, which is genuinely hilarious. And Rosie O'Donnell posted in the caption, "Hey Donald, you rattled again? 18 years later, I still live rent-free in that collapsing brain of yours." I'm gonna be honest with you right now. I watch the news all the time. I watch people try to defend Trump. I watch people attack Trump, and I'm chronically online. So I watch people insult Trump all day long, and I have never come across collapsing brains. Collapsing brain would actually explain everything. It would explain the made-up words. It would explain the spelling. You call me a threat to humanity, but I'm everything you fear: a loud woman, a queer woman, a mother who tells the truth, an American who got out of the country before you set it ablaze. You built walls, I built a life. I'm an autistic kid in a country where decency still exists. You crave loyalty, I teach my children to question power. You sell fear on golf courses, I make art about surviving trauma. You lie, you steal, you degrade. I nurture, I create, I persist. You are everything that is wrong with America, and I am everything you hate about what's still right with it. You want to revoke my citizenship, go ahead and try. King Joffrey with a tangerine spray tan. Jeez. I'm not yours to silence, I never was, and then it's the Irish flag signed Rosie. And if I'm being honest, I just never expected, I never expected the President of the United States to be so effectively eviscerated by one of the supporting actresses from A League of Their Own. It just feels wild that this is life. Philly, y'all been phenomenal. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I hope you had a fantastic time. I had so much fun with you. Thank you for an incredible weekend at the Fillmore. Thank you for 8 sold-out shows. I appreciate you.
Because a turtle is zooming at me fast. And so then I've got my phone in my hand, and this is the worst part, okay. So I scream, but I scream with the phone in the hand. And when you, maybe this is like a man thing. Maybe this might sound insane to some of y'all. But as a man, when you scream and you're genuinely scared, you hope you don't have anything in your hands. Because the way your hands shake the thing in your hands betrays how scared you are. If I scream, but I don't have anything in my hands, I'm like, ah! That's life. I had my phone in my hand, so I had a visible representation of how terrified I was, because the phone is like, ah! If the phone had moved a centimeter in my hand, it'd be like, he's not even really that scared, he's just surprised. The phone moved easily 1.5 feet. Ah! And then I seemed insane to my friends because I saw it first. So for them, I'm someone who they admittedly tricked into hiking, and I was huffing and puffing, and everyone we saw was like, how much further? How much further? Hi. And now we're at the top, and they're mad too. All they see are clouds. We probably shouldn't have done this. There's plenty of places to exercise. And then they're looking out at this disappointing view, and they hear, ah! It would have been better if I had dropped my phone, because I'm screaming and I'm back on, ah! And then the turtle is coming at me. And then everybody sees it. And this is where I lose people and people lose me, because then this is where the story gets muddy, right? Because we all ran. Everybody ran. I turned around, everybody with me. So we were all scared, and everybody ran, right? But then, after we run, after we're safe, now they want to tell me that wasn't a turtle. I saw it first. I saw it the longest. I decided what it was. And I'm not even saying I decide what it was because I'm always right. I'm just saying I think I should get to decide what it is because I was staring at it the longest and it was coming right at me. Terrifying stuff, you know? Do you care? Do you, not about that. Do you No, do you care? Because, okay, there are things that happen sometimes that no one can agree on, the proper etiquette for how to handle, because there's enough going on socially that people start making up rules as they go to sort of get through life. And then after a while, now that we're not like in the wilderness anymore, and now that we have like modern technology, now there's a little bit of breakdown. There's a little bit of breakdown in like what's proper etiquette, right? So for me, this is my thing, and I'm not asking you, don't say anything out loud. Answer the question in your head, because I cannot tell, and I've had countless arguments about this. Is it messier to answer the phone on speakerphone and not tell somebody they're on speakerphone? Or is it messier to call somebody knowing you want to talk mess and there's a possibility of being on speakerphone? It's hard to tell. They're both not good. It's happened many times. Many times I've been in the car with somebody and they throw speakerphone on. They either are, trying to drive responsibly, or they just love answering on speakerphone because they love having their hands free and they don't have their AirPods in or whatever, right? One time, I was with some friends and they were calling some family. We're in the car and family member picks up. But it's not who they call, it's the kid. The kid calls and is like, "Hi." And we're like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, "Oh, I'm good." And this kid doesn't care that they're on speakerphone. They don't have anything to say that's like, hush hush. But they're like, "What are you doing?" And the kid is like, "Oh, I'm just eating hot dogs and sitting on toilet." Okay. Okay. Good talk, buddy. Many times it's been, conversation, calling, answer, speakerphone. I personally think that if I call you and you pick up and I'm on speakerphone should be my last name. You're on speakerphone should be my last name. "Hey, Josh, you're on speakerphone." A simple warning. And I'm not even like messy like that, but still, what if something happens in real time? I should know when I'm in mixed company and when I'm in the company of the person that I called. I wasn't in the car for this one. But, okay. Let's just call them Mark and Sarah. Mark had been away on some business, and this was back in the day before like Uber. So you really needed somebody to pick you up from the airport if you didn't park your car at the airport beforehand. You could call a taxi, but it'd be quite a while and everything, right? And so Sarah's mom picked up Mark at the airport, and they had schemed together to surprise Sarah with him being back in town early, because she was already supposed to have a little picnic with her mom, and it was just going to be one of those picnics where it's like the mom comes and she's like, "Who's that behind you?" "It's Mark." "Oh, wow." Before YouTube, so it wouldn't have gone viral. And so then Sarah's mom, thinking it would be like a cute little thing to like tee up what they were about to do, calls Sarah just to be like, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm good. I'm excited for our picnic." "Oh, so am I. Have you talked to Mark today?" "No, I haven't talked to him today." "Oh, okay. I was just wondering." I was like, Just, a little primer for the surprise, right? And so she calls her, and she's on speakerphone. And Sarah picks up, and she's like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. Excited for our picnic? Oh, so am I. Have you talked to Mark today? No, we haven't talked today. And honestly, it's probably important that we do, because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's just hard. I feel like the spark is like gone. Like it's just, and maybe you went through this thing with Dad, but just, I don't know. Like sometimes he's gone and I'm like, all right. You know what I mean? This doesn't really feel like it used to or anything. And even when he gets back, I'm like, not that excited. I should be more excited. I don't know. Like it's probably, we should probably get a divorce. Like if I've been feeling this way for so long. And Sarah's mom looks over at Mark like, ugh. You know when you can't cringe enough? I've never been driving for it, but like I imagine that steering wheel was going through it. She had to be gripping that thing. Like the car was about to take off and fly away. And then she goes, well, sweetie? Mark's with me now. And Mark goes, hey, honey. Then she goes, oh. Do you think we should get a divorce? And it's like, do you even care that you're on speakerphone? Like, I am not like a tough guy. Sometimes I've like wanted to be a tough guy before. Especially when I was like little, I wanted to be like, yeah, tough. I'd even try to break the rules sometimes. You know what I mean? I'd have a pen, and I'd walk right up to like a white wall and be like, Vandalism. Deal with it. Like I wanted to like be bad, but I just didn't. I didn't have it. Even now, it's like it's never done a drug. I don't drink or anything. One time I was like, you know what? Why should I deprive myself? Everybody seems like they're having so much fun. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have a virgin margarita. I wonder what the flavor is. I've never had margarita flavor before. So I had a virgin margarita. Turns out, way too sweet. Like, ridiculously sweet. I used to be a bar back where I served people virgin margaritas. No wonder they got so drunk. These are delicious. I didn't have any alcohol, but I was like, I think I'll have another. I think I'll have another. I think I'll have another. To the point where I did get sick. I got sick off virgin margaritas. And like real sick too. Like, called my friends. I was so sick. I was with some friends. I called other friends. I called friends to be like, you know, y'all been drunk before. Y'all have had your benders and everything. I don't have any alcohol in me, but I got like the other half. I got like all the sugars. My stomach hurt. And like, look, I don't like that it happened, but I was not throwing up. I was just saying ooh a lot because it felt like I was gonna throw up, so I kept being like ooh, because then you know when you think you're about to throw up, so you start arguing with yourself, where you're like no. I'm telling my friends, I don't, and they're like, do you need us to take you to the hospital? I don't know if I'd live it down. I don't know if I could live down being rushed to the hospital off virgin margaritas. Maybe having to get my stomach pumped off virgin margaritas because I ingested a childish amount of sugar. But they were like, I called my friend, and they were like, do you need us to take you to the hospital? I was like, who is us? And they were like, oh, I'm sorry, you're on speakerphone. There's no way to take your cool back off speakerphone. I was so embarrassed. I was on speakerphone, and then I muted. I don't know, I was thinking I was drunk off virgin margaritas. But those are the things I've been thinking about because I've been watching what's happened. Whether you like Jimmy Kimmel or not, whether you watch the show, whether you care about his show or him, or like, it's television. I've heard all the excuses. The excuses came quick. Because this is unprecedented. And when things are unprecedented, you wonder should you do something? And you don't have to do anything if there's an excuse. You don't have to do anything if it's okay. I've heard people, I'm sure they were losing money anyway. No. I don't really like what he said. What'd he say? This thing was a long time coming because of how he's been acting. How has he been acting? Help me understand. Because the thing about free speech, especially like free speech wars, you always have to be careful. Who actually cares about everybody's speech, who's an actual absolutist, and who's just trying to get in, who's just trying to sneak in, because there are some people who have some heinous things to say, and they want to be able to say those things, and they use free speech as their anchor. That's their in. They wedge themselves in that way. But then, when it's their turn to talk, What they actually want is for other people to not be able to talk. That's what they've wanted for a long time. Like, I'm blown away about a thing that we've done since I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, it was explained to me that we had all these sorts of rights, and that these rights were fought for, and that these rights were things that we had that other people didn't have. There are other people in other countries that weren't as fortunate to have the rights that we have, right? And there's always been something that bothered me about that sentiment, about that idea. Because your freedom, your freedom it's yours because it's yours. Nobody can give it to you. Nobody can make you as free as you were born. Life gives you freedom. You're supposed to be free. You're supposed to be able to say the things that you think. You're supposed to be able to express yourself. Government can't give you freedom. It can definitely try to take things away, but even within what it tries to take away, it can't really take it away because the freedom wasn't given to you by the government to take away. Government can, you could buy a house at auction. Let's say somebody fell behind on their property taxes, so now their property's up for auction. You buy it, then you fall behind on those same property taxes. Government takes it away. It was never really yours. Freedom doesn't work that way. And so we walk around and we talk about how we have all these freedoms. These are our freedoms, and they're not from a government. These are God-given things. These are things that you were born with. These are things that nobody can take away. Even if they try. Even if they try. Look, they've tried with people throughout history. And there are people that live in a world without those freedoms, right? But even the resistance to express yourself is still your freedom trying to like sprout out of all of that cover. Your freedom is yours. I can't stress it enough. It's like saying, government, let me keep all my toes. Well, the government can only try to take away toes. They don't really hand out toes. It feels like you're giving the government an awful lot of credit. It's your freedom. It was given to you by something that outlasts all of this stuff. You know what I mean? And it can't really be taken away. You can be manipulated, and you can be scared. You could be angry enough, like some people are angry enough, to let someone's freedom of speech be taken away. You could be fearful. You could be so fearful that just the threat of an investigation, just the threat of some sort of government overreach makes you cave before there's even a solidified threat there. You know, you have a fear, you have an anger, you can have a hate that goes deeper than an anger. You can be so confused about what's going on, you just want someone to make a definitive statement about anything. You'll just go with it because you hate not knowing, you hate uncertainty. And then you see something like what happened to Jimmy Kimmel happen. And then you see people ask, is this really happening? Because it was never supposed to be able to happen here. And it's because of a lie that we told ourselves. We told ourselves that every country and everyone was different from us. Which is why we don't recognize ourselves when things that are only supposed to happen in other places happen here. You know? That's low-key the American way. The American way is to be like, well, look, of course it would happen there. It's because they're not over here. And it's like, no, whatever it is, happened over there because it could happen anywhere, especially if you're not vigilant, especially if you think that things won't happen to you just because There is no more just because. Is this really happening? Yes, it's happening. As wild as it may seem, as surreal as it is, you know, it's coming, and it's coming fast, like a turtle that shouldn't be on a mountain. Is this happening? Yes, it is happening. This is happening. There's no way around it. The people who are okay with it are okay with it for now. But there are plenty of people that I don't even like that have the presence of mind to know that this is not just crazy, this is unacceptable. This cannot happen here. It can't happen here. Because look, this is the other scary thing about government. And I'm not just trying to scare you. I'm just telling you everything that I've seen, everything I've ever read about, and people from other countries that have different life experiences to us. I'm telling you what they're saying, right? Pendulum swing. And one thing that governments don't do, hardly any government does, is give back the power it took in some way. You know what I mean? If you give over to fear, if you give them these things, they will be given and taken for good. There's no way around it. And we've already seen you cannot do enough. You will not be good enough. You won't be complacent enough. You can't placate enough to make it stop. It will not stop. They came for a white man with money. Do you know how nervous that makes a black guy? They came for a white man with money that really didn't do anything. And when I say really didn't do anything, people can go back and forth about trying to cherry pick or like the phrase of a thing, or here's what I thought he said when he said whatever. That does not matter. That actually gets us into a conversation we shouldn't even be in, because it shouldn't even be on the table, all right? It is not going to just go away, and it's not going to just stop. So then it's important. Do you care? Because if you care, that's very different. If you're scared, it's understandable. Plenty of people are scared. People with money are scared. ABC was scared. Disney was scared. You know Disney. Oh, you know Disney. Disney was scared. Disney, the same people who come up from behind you if you draw a picture of Mickey and go, what do you think you're doing with that, huh? Huh? We'll change the fair use laws and we'll make this illegal. Those people were scared. Being scared is human. But not doing anything is a choice, and not making your voices heard, and not you don't just take for granted what's happening. I think that there's, in my opinion, not enough alarm bells sounding. You know what I mean? Because we all saw it, but it's like in a hush, in a whisper, and I'm wondering why that is, because this man still loses in court. Just today, a judge threw out some $15 billion defamation lawsuit against the New York Times. When these things go to court, they don't they don't not just win, they don't prevail, they don't proceed, because under the law, they are illegal, you know? And any sort of strong arming by the government should really, really, really sound the alarms for any citizen. Pendulums swing. Governments do not give back power that they've taken. 9/11 was a long time ago. When did we get our privacy back? You know what I mean? So if it happened with privacy and then became normal and then you didn't really care, the same thing could happen with speech. All of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I guess I should get Grok to proofread my sentiments on the day. You're not alone in being worried, you're not alone in being fearful, you're not alone in being angry. The thing about not being alone is that you just have to find the other people. You have to find the other people who feel the way that you feel, and you have to stay in communion with them as strong as you can. Because it's the other people who feel the way you feel that will stop you from feeling crazy. And it is the only thing. That's the only thing that will, you know, if you keep the phone in your face, you will feel like you're losing your mind. Because it's all happening so fast, all happening all the time. Like, I'm not a tough guy. I'm not. I almost die off virgin margaritas. And I screamed. I screamed. And I ran from a turtle. But I can't run from this, and neither can you. I love you all, and we have each other, okay? Thank you all so much. Thanks for coming out.